All right, so we'll get started. I just wanted to welcome everyone to week 10 of our free isolation wellness program. Tonight's topic is how supplements can benefit your health and wellness lifestyle with our very own coach, Brett Riffel. Brett's a certified nutritionist and personal trainer and a Popeyes employee. He's also a supplement expert, and he's spent the last number of years putting thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into researching supplements and becoming an expert on that topic. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Brett to lead the webinar. Thanks for joining us, Brett.
Thank you, Grant. Looking forward to this webinar. Thank you for that intro. So a little bit more about myself. Like Grant said, my name is Brett. I'm one of the GFit wellness coaches, as well as I work at Popeyes. Supplements is honestly a huge passion of mine. And like Grant said, I've spent hours and hours researching the science behind them, how to use them properly, everything, why we take them. So some general information about supplements is who can benefit them. Basically, anyone can benefit from taking supplements. If you're going to the gym, if you're just living a healthy lifestyle, or even just looking to make your life a little bit more healthier, I guess. The kind of the topics that I'll be focusing on during the webinar is going to be we're going to talk about foundation products first, then we're going to talk about some protein, we're going to talk about weight loss aids, some keto products. I know keto is super popular nowadays, so we're going to talk about that, as well as performance supplements that you can take pre-workout, intra-workout, or even post-workout to get more out of your workouts. So without further ado, we'll start with some foundation products. Probably the number one foundation product that most people are familiar with are going to be your basic multivitamin. So anyone can take multivitamins, from a young child to your elderly grandparents. Think of them as kind of your foundation or your insurance policy, that you're getting enough vitamins and minerals into your body to perform all the body's functions optimally that we're not getting through our diet. So there's a few different options when it comes to multivitamins. It can be very confusing of which one to take, how many pills to take a day, what to look for in a multivitamin. A few kind of points of what to look for in a multivitamin. Number one is you want the multivitamin to come in capsules. If it comes in tablet form, stay away from those. Basically, nurses actually call tablets bedpans, or bedpan bullets, I should say, is because your body has a very poor bioavailability with them. So you basically just go right through your body without breaking down into your stomach or your small intestine. Another one to look for is the dosing protocol on a multivitamin. You want to make sure the multivitamin has more than just, it says 1 pill a day, because to fit all the vitamins and minerals your body needs in one day, you can't fit in one capsule. It's impossible. You'd be swallowing a horse pill that no one wants to do. So when you are looking at a multivitamin on the shelf, make sure it says to take 2 to 3 times daily, so you're getting steady vitamins and minerals throughout the day, because vitamins such as B vitamins are you're basically streaming out of your body throughout the day. So you want to make sure you're replenishing those. So that's basically kind of what we're talking about multivitamins. Another foundation supplement is a greens powder. So I kind of show you a little bit better there. So I'm personally horrible at eating vegetables. So this is a huge supplement in my repertoire that I use daily. Each scoop, compared for this specific one of veggie greens, is 6 to 8 servings of vegetables in one scoop. So that's a huge benefit to anyone that's having a hard time getting vegetables in their daily diet. So, and the biggest thing is too, they're coming from most supplements like the veggie greens is going to come from a variety of sources of vegetables. So normally in a person's diet, they might be getting 1, 2, or 3 different sources of vegetables. So that could be just spinach, that could be just broccoli, asparagus. We don't have much variety, especially in our North American diet. So a product like this is super beneficial. Effects that you should notice by adding in a product like a green supplement is improved digestion. So any digestive issues, it'll definitely help with that. It'll definitely help with your boosting your immune system as well. And most importantly, what I've noticed is increased energy. You're going to feel overall healthier. You're going to rely less on stimulants. So definitely a huge benefit to taking this for anyone, if you're going to the gym or not. Lastly, one thing that's very underrated about greens powder is the mental health effect it has. So the gut is kind of, we say, our second brain in our body. Everything that goes on in our gut is connected to our brain directly. So if your gut is healthy, your brain is healthy, your mind is healthy, your body is healthy. As simple as that. Another thing you can add in that's I would consider a foundation supplement is a berry powder, so a fruit blend. So this is great product for antioxidants. So anyone that's has a lot of stress in their life or working out physically, let's say 5-6 times a week, it's great for recovery. As well as if anyone's watching this that's on the keto diet, I know fruit is usually one of those food items that's cut out very quickly in someone who's on keto diet due to the high sugar content and carb content. So you could be lacking in those essential minerals and vitamins. So I would definitely recommend Addison, especially if you're on the keto diet. 1 scoop of a powder like this is going to be about 13 carbs. So really not the end of the world. I know depending on your situation with the keto diet, you might still be under 13. You can even just do a half a scoop. But I definitely recommend that. Even doing something like this, you can do intra-workout or post-workout to get those antioxidants in as well. I know there is a lot of research behind not taking antioxidants post-workout because you do want some inflammation. I personally don't think something like this is going to affect that. And the quick-acting sugars is going to basically be great post-workout for recovery. Then going to bring my notes back up here. So another foundation supplement, probably actually my favorite foundation supplement if we're talking about all of them, is going to be good old-fashioned fish oil. So fish oil is going to come in pill form or liquid form. There's not one's better than the other. It's totally personal preference. So if you want to go pill form, I think it's a little bit more convenient for you. So you're able to travel with it, keep in a pill case, take it to work, leave it at work. It's just easier to take. Liquid is usually some sort of flavor, or for instance, this one's orange flavor. It actually tastes really good. Liquid's huge for people who can't swallow pills or have a hard time, as omega-3 pills are usually a little bit on the bigger side. One thing to note about fish oil, especially in liquid form, is you have to keep it in the fridge, and it's usually only good for 90 days. So usually there's a marker that you should basically label this to say, hey, I put in the fridge on January 1st. 90 days later, if you're not done the bottle, you can smell it and kind of think if it's gone rancid or not. But it's also still probably a good idea just to toss it out and grab a new bottle, as you don't want to take the risk. Also, one thing about fish oil too is that I get tons of questions at Popeyes is I get fish burps. That's one of the most common things, and one of the I guess people have in their mind that's a drawback of fish oil and they don't want to take it that way. When you are looking for a fish oil on the supplement wall or store, you want to look for, I'm not sure if I'm able to show it really good here. So there's this logo that says IFOS. It's basically white lettering with a blue kind of oval. What that means is that fish oil has been third-party tested to make sure it's not rancid. So that's usually why you get fish burps, is because it's actually bad fish oil that's in the capsule. So that's just something to look out for when looking for fish oil on the market. A few benefits to fish oil. Honestly, I can ramble about the benefits of fish oil for hours. But a few that kind of stand out is going to be mental health. That's a huge part of why I take fish oil. When I am taking about 4 to 6 grams a day, that is split up throughout the day, morning and night, I feel more focused, happier, and an overall better mood. Because what we're getting from fish oil is essential fatty acids. They are essential for our body to perform our body functions. So they're required in brain function, how your heart pumps, even how, let's say you're curling a bicep or doing a bicep curl, it's going to be involved. Another one is hormone production. So many of you know, having enough fats in your diet coming from healthy sources, such as like coconut oil, avocado, almonds, it's very great to have those into your diet for hormone production to make sure your testosterone is peaking or your estrogen is balanced. So great way to make sure you're balancing your hormones is taking fish oil. As well as another one is joint lubrication. So I have tons of people that come in to Popeyes and say, oh, my elbow hurts, my knee hurts, my hips hurt, whatever the kind of the problem is. Yes, there is specific joint supplements, such as like curcumin, MSM, glucosamine, those type of things. Don't bash on those ingredients, all those are fantastic. But one thing I usually go to right off the hop is fish oil, as it has been proven to help lubricant your joint areas, decrease inflammation, and again, has all the other health benefits along with it. So it's really a no-brainer to take it. It's relatively cheap as well. For instance, this is a 250 soft gel. It's about $45 at Popeyes. So not overly expensive. And this is honestly one of the highest quality ones on the market today. So that's fish oil. Two other ones. Also, if just to let everyone know, if they do have questions as I go, please feel free to ask me in the Q&A box or in the chat box. So that is something someone can ask if they choose. Last two I want to talk about kind of in the foundation products is going to be vitamin C and vitamin D. So probably most of you have heard a lot about vitamin C and vitamin D recently, especially with COVID-19 going around. Definitely marketing, advertisement on making sure you're getting enough of those into your daily diet is really important right now to strengthen our immune system. So both of them are great, like I said, for strengthening our immune system, antioxidants, fighting free radicals in our body. So I would definitely recommend for males, for vitamin D, I would say about 5,000 IUs a day. That can be taken at once, that can be split up throughout the day. So that would be the recommended dose. As we get into summer, you can probably lower that to about 3,000. Especially in Winnipeg here, in the cold winter peg, I would definitely recommend a higher dose because we're not outside as much. One super, super, super important part about fish oil is when you're looking for some on the shelf is, hopefully you guys can see this, is you want to make sure it's in a fat source. So for instance, this one, I believe, this one is in olive oil. Sometimes you find them in MCT oil as well. Is the most important part is if it's in a fat source, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. It means it needs a fat source to get proper absorption into your body. So you'll see the ones with like compressed tablets on the market or just powder. Not bashing them, but if you can get one with a fat source, that would be my preference, as they're usually way higher quality and easier for your body to absorb. So that's a little bit about fish oils. Oh, sorry, for females, I would say anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 IUs a day would be super beneficial to take. Your mood will be increased, your energy, your bone, teeth, skin will be much healthier, much stronger as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about vitamin D. Moving on to vitamin C. So most of us have probably heard vitamin C since we're very young. I know my grandparents and parents, drink your orange juice, it's good vitamin C for you. So yes, you can get vitamin C from whole food sources, but again, sometimes a supplement like this makes it a little bit easier or attainable to make sure we're getting it in. Vitamin C. So recommended dose, I would say, is anywhere from 1 to 2 grams a day. I would say probably on the upper end of 2 grams would be what I would recommend. You can basically, the thing about vitamin C, actually one of the great things about vitamin C is you can take a whole lot of it and your body will just excrete it. To get a toxic level of vitamin C, you have to take like thousands of grams of vitamin C. So one thing you shouldn't be concerned about is consuming, too much vitamin C. The benefits you should know from vitamin C is basically energy levels, improved immune function, better skin, as well as eye health as well. So that's kind of going over some of the main foundation products. If I have time at the end, I would like to go over a few more foundation ones, but let's move on. Let's see if there's any questions that I can, and oh, we do have a question. Look at that. Okay, so the question is, thoughts on the upper tolerance levels of these nutrients. Is there a specific nutrient you're asking, or a specific vitamin? I'm not exactly sure kind of what you're asking there. So I guess we only came in a couple of minutes ago. So maybe we're talking about vitamin C, vitamin D. I'll repeat that about, I would say 2 grams daily. Yeah, okay. Perfect. So yeah, thoughts of your on the upper tolerance of vitamin C and vitamin D. I would say again for a male, 5,000 IUs; for a female, 2,000 to 3,000. For vitamin, oh sorry, that's for vitamin D. For vitamin C, I would say 2 grams a day, male or female. Okay. Another question is, what are your thoughts on turmeric and curcumin supplementation? Are they useful? 100% useful. One thing, if you are looking at turmeric or curcumin, is you want to make sure that they have a black pepper extract in the formula along with them. So it might just say black pepper extract, or it might actually say bioperine. What that is just a patent version of a black pepper extract that many companies use just to help with absorption. Curcumin and turmeric have super poor bioavailability in your body, especially orally. So you got to take a pretty high dose. But in terms of the effectiveness, it's great. It's going to be great for your joints. It's going to be great for your immune system, and it's even has been great for basically your digestion health as well. That's why a lot of people actually cook with curcumin for meals. So I'm just going to see if there's any other questions here. Nope. Okay, so can you touch a little bit on probiotics, best brand? What is the highest level probiotics? So probiotics are great. So all depends. Best brand, really, there's no best brand for really anything. One that I definitely recommend that we actually sell at Popeyes is Progressive. The great thing about them is they have true ID a third-party testing on their probiotics. So in layman's terms, what that means is at expiry, so let's say it has 60 billion in there. Just gonna open that again. 60 billion probiotic. At expiry date, it still has to have 60 billion. So probably you're actually getting, let's say, 70, 80 billion when you actually buy it, because they die off through the time before they're expired, even if they're stored in the fridge. Storing in the fridge is definitely going to prolong the life of that probiotics. But I would say that's my main recommendation for brand-wise would be Progressive. In terms of what they do, basically it's healthy bacteria or gut bacteria you're putting into your gut. So coming back to gut health, like I was talking about with greens, those two actually work hand in hand. Most greens formulas have like inulin or some sort of prebiotics, which is actually going to feed the probiotics to make them work better and more efficiently in your body. In terms of what strength of probiotic you should use, that's something we can have more of a one-on-one conversation, kind of figure out what kind of digestive issues you're having, your medical history, budget, and how often you want to take it. So in terms of strength, there's most people, I would say 60 billion is kind of your maintenance level. There is 120 as well if we need a little bit stronger. That's usually for someone that has a digestive disease or has a colon disease or anything like that. Sorry, there's just a few more questions here that I'm going to touch on. Best time to take probiotics. There's no wrong time to take them. I've kind of experimented with myself taking them in the morning with breakfast or later at night. I think it's kind of a personal preference thing. There's really no scientific research to show, oh, take them in the morning or take them at night. I would say personal preference, and you should take them with a food source as well. Why I say take them with a food source, better absorption into your body, as well as usually I do recommend with most pills to take with food because people can get an upset stomach because most of them will just kind of change the pH level of your stomach acid. Okay, now they're in here. What digestive enzymes do you sell at Popeyes, and when is the best time to take them? That's a great question. Especially if we're talking to someone that's a competitive athlete or competitive, let's say, bodybuilder or into the fitness industry, digestive enzymes are perfect example of a foundation supplement that they should be taken, because we're spending tons and tons of money on tons of protein, tons of carbs, tons of fats. And if our gut health isn't healthy to absorb all the nutrients from the food we're spending tons of our money on, we're basically just wasting our money. In terms of what we sell at Popeyes, we sell a few different ones. So we sell one called by Allmax. Theirs is just called Allmax Digestive Enzyme. That's kind of going to be your entry-level enzyme. I think it's around $25, so it's very reasonable. Another one we sell is now Super Enzymes. Again, that one's kind of our mid-range, it's about $35. That one I don't like as much. Again, coming back to the tablet form, that one's a tablet. So I do question the absorption into the actual gut before it passes out of your body. Thirdly, the one I'd recommend, I actually use it for all my bodybuilding preps, is made by ATP Labs. They are a pharmaceutical grade company. They make very high-end products. That one's about $50, and that would be my recommendation for a probiotic to take. When to take it, I would say you can take it honestly with every meal of the day. You probably don't need to take it with every meal of the day, depending on how big your meals are. I would say, for instance, let's say you're eating 5 meals a day. Take it with your 3 biggest meals of the day. I would say mid-meal. So mid-meal, so about halfway through your meal, a quarter way through your meal, start taking the digestive enzyme. What you should notice is better nutrient absorption, less bloating, less gas, an easier time going to the bathroom. Any other suggestions in terms of digestive aids? For example, if you tend to experience bloating often. Yeah, so actually that's great. So we kind of touched on a few of those. Probiotics would be great. Digestive enzymes would be great. Greens powder would be great. Even we can even look at going back to like the joint health. Cumin would be a great supplement to add in there if you're having some bloating issues. What I would highly suggest first before looking at an actual supplement for that is looking at what's causing the bloating. So if something in your diet you might have an intolerance to, or you might be what's the right word here, eating too much too quickly, too much water with your meal, it could be a bunch of different issues. But if we want a supplement recommendation, I would say start with digestive enzymes. Would be my number one suggestion, as I've noticed in my own personal experience when I supplement digestive enzymes, my core and my stomach is a lot flatter and a lot leaner, as there's not a whole bunch of junk in my intestines, basically. Okay, so I think that's all the questions we have for the foundation supplements. Well, a couple other ones I should actually touch on here is especially if some people are vegan watching this. So you might be thinking, Brett, I can't take fish oil. I'm vegan and following a vegan diet. It doesn't work for me. That's totally fine. There's options. Couple options we can go with would be flaxseed oil. So that's one option, or another option would be to use an algae or seaweed oil. Those, unfortunately, we don't sell at Popeyes. If I had to make a recommendation, I would say check Vita Health. They're another health food store that has tons of natural products and great quality supplements as well. And they also try to get a lot of locally made stuff from Manitoba, which I absolutely love. So if you are vegan, flaxseed oil and algae or seaweed oil, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to find, but it's definitely possible. Alrighty, so moving on here. Protein powder. So what is protein powder? Protein powder, think of that as basically a chicken beef replacement. So there's a few different types of protein powder in the world. So there's whey protein, which is dairy-based that comes from milk and cheese. Then there's vegan protein or plant-based protein, which is going to come from either brown rice, pea protein, hemp seed protein, pumpkin, cranberry seed, even I've seen. So that's an option. Third option, is going to be beef protein. So that's usually going to come from, again, an animal. So it's preferably probably a cow is what they're going to come from. First one I want to touch on is going to be whey protein. So the whey protein category is kind of split up into a few different subcategories. So I'm going to bring some supplements up here. So there is protein that is called, just a better suggestion to use, whey isolate. So what that means is it's whey protein isolate. So Brett, what does that mean? What does isolate mean? So what that means is basically in the factory, they filter the protein to get out the lactose, fats, and carbs to make it more of a clean protein, for lack of a better word. So the nutritional panel will be lower calories. It's going to have less fat, less carbs, still the same old high protein content that you want, as well as the absorption and digestion in your body is going to be a superior compared to the other types of proteins that I'm going to be talking about. Because it's filtered more, it's a smaller particle, so your stomach has an easier time absorbing it and utilizing it into your body. So whey protein isolate's perfect post-workout. That's usually kind of the staple time to take it, as we're working out hard, we're breaking down our muscle tissues, and post-workout, we need something to replenish it. Think of our body as a sponge then. So we want to just soak up everything. And then, so sorry, I was just reading some questions there. So whey protein isolate is, again, probably your highest quality source that you want to look for. If your goal is to put on lean muscle mass, take it post-workout, or if you have any sensitivity to lactose by any means. Some companies, for instance, like Magnum here, actually offers a lactose-free option. So not every sort of isolate will say on the label lactose-free, but majority of them have a very, very small amount of lactose. It really depends on how sensitive you are to lactose. So if you are very sensitive to it, I can definitely message me after this and I will make some recommendations. Number one probably would be Quattro, as this is one of our top selling proteins at Popeyes and definitely probably one of our highest qualities proteins as well. So that would be a great option. But again, message me after through Instagram, through my phone number, through my email that I'll be putting in the chat at the end of the chat, or at the end of the webinar, I should say. I'm just going to look at some questions. That's a great question. So Ralph asks, can isolate be used for a meal replacement as well? That is, it's a person dependent, I would say. So it's not a yes or a no. It definitely could be used as a meal replacement. Again, depends on how often you're eating. Because an isolate is such a small particle, it does digest probably within 1 to 2 hours of consumption. So if you're hoping to go for a longer period of time without eating, I would suggest going to more of a sustained release protein, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But it definitely could be used. One option you can do if calories is not an issue for you is adding some sort of fat source to it. So if you're putting in a smoothie, let's say you're putting an isolate in a smoothie, put some oats in there, put some berries, and then add some healthy fats like natural peanut butter, or even I do coconut oil sometimes in my smoothie. It actually adds a really nice texture. What the fats will do is basically slow down your digestion and slow down the digestion of the protein. So you'll actually digest probably, let's say, over 2 to 3 hours instead of 1 to 2. So definitely you could use an isolate as a meal replacement if you're eating more frequently throughout the day. So, and then next one we're going to talk about is a mixed whey. So when I say mixed whey, it has 2 different types of protein in there. So it has, again, whey protein isolate, which we talked about earlier. Sorry, I see questions coming in. Oh, Lana's asking, what is high whey? That's actually what I'm going to get to right now. So I will answer that in just a few minutes. So mixed whey. So mixed whey is going to be a blend. So why companies do that is to bring costs down. So whey protein isolate is the most expensive because it has that extra step of manufacturing to filter the protein to make sure most of the carbs, most of the lactose, most of the fat is out of it. So it's a little bit more costly on the manufacturer's end, which makes it more costly on our end, unfortunately. So a mixed whey. Who's mixed whey for? Again, mixed whey could be for anyone. Who I usually recommend mixed whey for is someone that has no digestive issues at all, not worried about calories, and looking to maybe actually even consume more calories and put on some size. Is mixed whey a lower quality than whey protein isolate? You can make a case for it, yes. But at the end of the day, if you don't have any digestive issues and your stomach is healthy, you should be able to digest it fine and you'll provide the same benefits as a whey protein isolate. So a couple things for a whey protein concentrate. Again, they're not lactose free. So if you do have any sort of lactose sensitivity, go the isolate route. If you're on a budget and not caring about calories and even concerned a little bit more for taste, go the mixed whey route. because they have a little bit more carbs, a little bit more fat, a little bit more sugar, they're usually a little bit thicker consistency, as well as the taste is usually much richer. So that would be a good option. Also for baking, whey concentrates, that's a mixed whey, is going to be a lot better than isolate because it has, again, those extra carbs, extra fat. Your baking won't turn out as dry. Just gonna see, I see some questions coming in, so I'm just gonna take a look at that. And then, so Lana actually asked, what is high whey? So high whey is actually one of the proteins we sell at Popeyes. It's made by a company called Revolution. It's, how I look at it is our entry level protein. So again, it's a mixed whey, so it has whey protein concentrate and whey protein isolate. It's higher calories, a little bit harder for your body to digest. Usually someone that's coming for a mixed whey is not too concerned about, quality, or just your average gym goer, or even, let's say, a 16 to 18-year-old kid who's on a budget. That's kind of what that protein's for. If you're a competitive bodybuilder or taking the gym very seriously on a strict meal plan, definitely go the isolate route. I promise you're going to feel a lot better after you drink it, as well as I honestly believe the results are going to be much better. That's just my personal opinion. If you want some suggestions, let's say my top 3 after this webinar for a specific person, DM me, message me anytime. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. I absolutely live for this. Another one question is, do you suggest a casein protein source before bed for slower uptake and reduce muscle hypertrophy overnight? 100%. Totally. Casein is a great option. So what casein actually is coming from the milk and cheese as well. That's whey does as well. So there's 2 parts of it. Basically in the manufacturing process, they're taking the casein and then they're taking the whey. Like the question said, casein is slow digestion. So how whey protein isolate was 1 to 2 hours, casein digests roughly 6 to 8 hours. So most people actually take that before bed, which is phenomenal time to take it. Because we're sleeping for, let's say, 6 to 8 hours, our body's going without food. So having that casein protein in our stomach before bed is giving our body steady amino acids throughout the night. So we're not going catabolic, and we're continuing to feed our muscles and our body with fuel. Casein is a great option. So I do suggest that if you want to take it before bed, you can even do a late night snack and make make some protein ice cream with it. Or I know I used to do a lot is make a protein brownie. So what that entails is if you do 1 scoop of protein, usually chocolate flavor. What is it? What I do here? Tablespoon of cocoa powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup of almond milk, mix it all up in a bowl, microwave for 30-40 seconds. You got a high protein, low calorie brownie there right before bed. Nice little treat to kill any cravings you might have in the evening time. And then you're getting a good source of protein before you go to bed. Another benefit of casein is for people who aren't breakfast eaters or usually like to get up, let's say have a cup of coffee and then eat breakfast. It's going to curb your appetite in the morning. You're not going to wake up, oh my God, I need breakfast. So that's another benefit if you're one of those people that rather start their day off without eating right away. Okay, I'm just going to dismiss a few questions here and see if there's any other ones. Okay, so next kind of protein we're going to touch on is going to be a sustained release. So this can be used a little bit more as a meal replacement or a little bit more flexible if a person's schedule is taking protein, let's say in the morning, post-workout, and before bed, and they only want to grab 1 tub, which is more than realistic. We're coming back to Magnum Quattro. So Magnum Quattro is, like I said, one of our highest quality, if not our highest quality protein we sell at Popeyes. It's 100% pharmaceutical grade. There's actually a guarantee on it that it won't cause you any bloating, any gas, any upset stomach, anything like that. If it does, bring it to me at Popeyes. I'll give you a full refund. no questions asked. As simple as that. So for as many as you are not sure how many on the webinar know, but we actually just started a partnership with Magnum as basically our supplement sponsor or supplement partnership. So I'm super excited. As soon as Grant actually told me that we were going to be paired with Magnum, I was ecstatic. I sent them a picture of all my empty containers I had from last year's prep of all the Magnum products, as that's really all I've used myself. So definitely highly suggest checking out their brand. I will be probably talking about a few more of the products during the webinar. So protein, sustained release. Again, I'm losing my off track here. This is great for someone that, okay, I will answer that in a second, Lana. Quattro, so sustained release. So this has different digestion rates. So if we look on the back of the panel, so that says 3, 4, and 6. So there's 4 different digestion rates in the protein. So fast, medium, and slow. So again, like I was talking about meal replacements, this is a great option for meal replacements to be used. So because it has the 4 different digestion rates, it's going to keep you fuller long, keep you saturated or satisfied, I should say, longer throughout the day. So if we're going meal replacement route, this is a great option. Or even coming back to the casein question, is this protein actually has a quarter of it is casein. So if you're wanting to just buy one protein, but you're also wanting something post-workout, this is a great option because it's best of both worlds. You're getting your whey isolate for your post-workout, you're getting your casein before bed. So that's what I really love about it. I personally use it myself before bed all the time because I usually work out pretty late at night. I usually have a shake and then I'm off to bed. So I absolutely love it. Lana has a question here. Can people who are trying to lose weight take casein before bed? Yeah, no doubt about it. So casein can be used by really anyone. If you're in a bulking phase, if you're in a cutting phase, if you're in a maintaining phase, can't go wrong with it. It's the same thing as a whey protein, calories in, calories out. So to lose weight on casein protein, just consider what you're that into your daily calorie intake. So if you add that, you might have to remove, let's say, 100 to 200 calories out of what you eat during the day if you want to take that before bed. But definitely possible. Alrighty, so I'm actually, it's already 8:15. Gotta speed this up a little bit. So to go over a couple of things quick, we'll talk about plant-based protein. So plant-based protein is getting huge. For instance, at Popeyes, we probably used to have a 16th of the wall plant-based protein. We probably have about maybe just under a quarter of it now, or probably about a quarter plant-based protein, especially with the documentary Game Changers. We definitely saw a huge spike in protein sales for plant-based. Plant-based is a great option. It is a little bit inferior to whey unless you're a vegan because of the amino acid profile. So the amino acid profile isn't as high as in whey. So the amount of amino acids your body's getting for recovery, muscle growth isn't as great. But in terms of digestion, phenomenal. Also, one of the questions I've been getting a lot is, why does vegan protein taste awful? To be completely honest, that's just the nature of the raw ingredients. It's tough to make peas taste good. It's tough to make brown rice taste good. Hemp tastes good. It is going to be a little bit more grittier. It is going to be a little bit thicker. And it's going to be a little bit more chalky. They definitely have come a long way in the past, let's say, about 2 to 3 years, I would say, is a good estimate. So if you are vegan or you have any digestive issues for lactose, or you just want to switch up your protein source, which I highly recommend switching up instead of just consuming one source day after day after day, kind of shock your body a little bit, is plant-based. One that I recommend is the Bless protein here. This is by far our best tasting, one of our highest quality and smoothest proteins for plant-based. I would actually highly compare it to the taste and texture of a whey protein. So it's super high quality. Again, if you have any questions about plant-based proteins or want suggestions, shoot me a message. Oh, perfect. I can go over the time limit. Sick. Okay. Next option. Let's move on. Actually, is there any more questions about supplements here, about protein? Okay. Oh, okay, we got more questions in the chat here. Okay, will casein affect fasting if you do fasted cardio? No, I don't believe so. Because I'm hoping you're sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours a night, and the protein should digest in that time frame. So if you are doing fasted cardio in the morning and you want to be 100% fasted, it won't affect it at all, honestly. And even the little bit of protein that might be left in your stomach or in your bloodstream, it's not going to affect fat burning or calorie loss or anything in terms of that. So that's actually a really good question. Next thing I know a lot of people are going to be kind of wondering about, and definitely one of the topics that's misunderstood the most is going to be weight loss. So weight loss is super complicated. If we're talking diet-wise, if we're talking supplement-wise, if we're talking training-wise. The easiest thing is calories in, calories out. So you need to consume less calories, or burn more calories than you're consuming. A little bit of a tongue twister. So I have a lot of people that come into Popeyes and say, give me your best fat burner. I need to lose 15 pounds. Okay. So usually the first thing before looking at a fat burner is looking at your daily diet and training. No weight loss aid is going to be a magic pill or burn 10, 15 pounds of fat unless your diet is on point. So first thing I'd highly recommend is looking at your diet, making sure you're in a deficit of calories or pretty darn near a deficit of calories, and you're consistently going to the gym or consistently exercising before investing in a weight loss supplement. So yeah, let's get into it. So there's a couple different categories in weight loss supplements. There's going to be, question. Any weight loss stacks you recommend, Anthony asks. Definitely. So I'll get into that. I'm going to talk about the different types of supplements in the weight loss category. So there's your stimulant base. So when I say stimulant, I mean caffeine. So those are usually called thermogenics. What those do is basically heat up your core temperature of your body. So it makes you sweat, gives you energy, which is great, especially if you're dieting, because usually if you're dieting, you're on a little bit lower of a energy because of the food intake. So that's one. The other option is non-stimulant, so no caffeine. What those products do is basically work with your metabolism to make it a little bit more run a little bit more effectively, as well as help your body utilize fat storage as an energy source more efficiently. So I'm just going to see if there's any questions here before I move on. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about stimulant fat burners. So for instance, this one is Magnum Heat. This is a great product if someone's really trying to sweat in the gym or during their workouts, hence the name Heat. So this is going to be a thermogenic. So what that's going to do is basically increase your thermogenic or your temperature in your body, so you're sweating more, burning more calories, kind of mimicking a workout in layman's terms. So this is one of our higher stimulants supplements. So again, I always recommend someone starting with a half a dose or even less, and then kind of working their way up to the full dose of the supplement. Just because the last thing I want to recommend is something that gives someone a stomach ache or gives them a headache, because they're going to have a negative thought on the product and they're not going to want to take it again. So one thing to recommend is think about yourself and if you have a high tolerance to caffeine or a low tolerance. So that's something we can also discuss. So again, heat, great option. This is going to be a pure thermogenic, as well as it could help with appetite suppressant as well. So it's definitely something to look into. I can answer more questions if you have on it. But as we're a little bit, I want to get through a few more things. So I'm just going to go move on. Next thing is going to be non-stimulant. So two options that we can go with non-stimulant that I actually go hand in hand is acid, which is a CLA, that is a healthy fat you're putting into your body, as well as an L-carnitine supplement. So a good analogy to use is mining coal. So think your fat as coal. Acid or CLA is going to be the guy with the hammer or the pitchfork or whatever they use there to hammer the coal and get it off the walls in the mine. Carnitine, which is L-carnitine, is going to be the transporter. So that's the guy that carries the coal away, so carries your fat away to be used as an energy source. So if we are going non-stimulant, these two work great together. It is quite a bit of pills a day. Acid or CLA, it doesn't have to be specifically this one, is going to be 6 pills a day, because the science shows that you need to take 6 grams of CLA a day to be effective, and each pill is 1,000 milligrams. What you should notice from this is going to be basically reduce hunger and a little bit of a tightening area, especially in the stomach area. No, we can't target belly fat. Everyone knows that we can't target where we lose fat on our body. It kind of is up to our genetics and what our body wants to do. But CLA is one of those supplements that has been proven to help around the stomach area. L-carnitine, again, this is a great supplement for helping your body use your fat storage as an energy source more effectively, as well has been proven to help with natural energy levels. So even if, let's say you started with heat, and then say you took this for 3 months, and then you came off it, this is a great way to kind of bridge the gap between your next cycle of heat. It'll help reset your receptors and make heat more effective next time you take it. Does anyone have any questions about weight loss? I kind of ran through that pretty quickly. So if anyone has any questions, I would love to go through. Will cayenne pepper or caffeine help in transport of fat? I don't think so. No, honestly. I don't think about transport is the right word. It'll help probably burn fat, for especially caffeine in terms of thermogenic. Cayenne pepper, again, I would say is the same way. In heat, there is actually cayenne pepper. So that's one of the ingredients. Some people do say with heat, when they do take the pills, they get kind of a spicy feeling in their throat after they take the pill. So one thing I do suggest is take tons and tons of water with it to really flush it down into your stomach. So that's one thing. So yeah, that's any questions? Okay, let's move on then. Again, if you did think of a question that I didn't touch on, please let me know. I'm happy to come back to it. Or even again after the webinar, as I kind of fly through that section a little bit quickly. We're going to move on to keto. So Keto is a huge trend right now, especially diet-wise. And I think the biggest misconception with keto is I see customers come into Popeyes and they have misinformation that they were told by a friend or read online, or don't really know how it works unless they just know that it's great for losing weight. So number one thing I want to get through for keto, especially supplement-wise, is it's a diet. It's 100% a diet. If you're not following a diet to the T with keto, it's honestly a waste of time. So there is supplements to benefit keto. Oh, I see a question here. Coming back to weight loss, actually, I'll answer this, Lana. What is the best supplement for increased energy or weight loss for someone who has high blood pressure? That's actually a really good question. That's a really good question because caffeine does raise blood pressure, so we definitely want to be careful with that. We can go different kind of routes. I would say a lower stim fat burner would be great. Heat would not be, as it's too high stim. I would look for something, for instance, like OxyShred. So this is a lower stim one. So it's about 135 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. So that would be an option if, depending on how high the blood pressure is to go lower stim. Another thing is just to stick with the non-stims such as a CLA, L-carnitine, even some green tea extract would be really good. That's great for antioxidants. That's great for a little bit of energy, as like it has like 4% caffeine. So, but it's a little bit cleaner caffeine. So I wouldn't say that would affect blood pressure at all. I hope that answered that. But yeah, sorry, coming back to keto. Okay. Yeah, keto, like I was saying, it's a diet is the number one thing people need to understand is it's very restrictive, but very effective at the same time. What the keto supplements are is what makes the diet a little bit more attainable. So a few popular ones that we I usually recommend would be a BHB ketone. So when you're in ketosis, your liver actually makes ketones. And that's what your body's using as an energy source because we don't have the carbohydrates to fuel our mind and our body. By using a BHB ketone supplement, that basically will help with your daily energy, giving your body more ketones, helping stay in ketosis, and potentially even get into ketosis a little bit faster. But it's no quick fix. You definitely would have to take the supplement for, let's say, months on end to make sure you're getting the full benefits out of it. Second product is going to be a meal replacement. So this is basically think of it a protein powder, just how we were talking about protein powder earlier. It's a protein powder with high quality fats. So basically, if we're looking at the nutritional label, per one scoop is going to be 32 grams of fat, 10 carbs, 7 of them are coming from fiber, and 20 grams of protein. So that's usually a pretty solid meal for someone that's on keto. It's quick, simple, and because it's loaded with fats, it's delicious, honestly. Most keto products are delicious because they are fat-based. Fat equals flavor. So highly recommend a meal replacement like this if you're on the go or have a very busy lifestyle. Probably the most common question for keto, and everyone literally asks me, is can I eat protein bars on the keto diet? Everybody loves protein bars nowadays. They taste delicious. They taste exactly like a chocolate bar. They're quick, easy source of protein. So my answer is yes, you can have protein bars. It depends on the one you're looking at, and depends on your carb intake a lot. A lot of them will have a low net carbs. So a lot of the carbs are coming from sugar, alcohols, from fiber. So depending on how they affect your blood sugar and insulin release, yes, you can definitely eat some protein bars on the keto diet. Should you eat them daily? No. Should you eat them 2 or 3 times a day? No. Think of them again as a little treat, or as what's the right word here? An emergency in case you don't have a snack on you or don't have a meal. But definitely you could still fit them into the plan. And if you do have questions for suggestions of which bars to look at, shoot me a message. This one is Grenade Carb Killer. Definitely one of our most popular bars. So it's great. If anyone follows Anthony on Instagram, he eats literally 5 of these a day at Popeyes, 7 days a week. Oh, I see a question. Chantel asks, can you eat Cranked bar every day? Asking for a friend. Well, if you're on the keto diet, I would say no. Crank bars, and if people don't know, is a locally made bar here in Manitoba, and we actually sell them at Popeyes. They're peanut butter based, so you would think that's keto, but again, they're naturally sweetened. They're a whole food bar, so you're looking at about 18 grams of sugar per bar coming from sugar instead of like a sugar, alcohol, or fiber. So if you're not on the keto diet, go for it. Keto or crank bars are amazing, but if you are on the keto diet, I would highly advise against that. Okay, second, how are we doing for time here? Perfect. So next category is probably my actual favorite category to talk about. It's going to be performance supplements. So these supplements are going to be what's going to help you in the gym. So they're going to make your workout longer, you're going to make your workout harder, improve recovery, and kind of make you just a beast in the gym, for lack of a better word. So starting off, we'll talk about some pre-workouts. I know everybody loves pre-workouts, so do I. So pre-workout is one of those categories that is so different from person to person. I can, for instance, if I'm looking at protein powder, I can take 10 people, suggest the same protein powder to 10 people, and 8 or 9 of them will love it. There might be the one person that doesn't. With pre-workout, it's totally different. I can take 10 people, show them one pre-workout, and maybe 2 or 3 people might like it. The other 7's like, I didn't like what it did to me. So one thing I highly suggest with pre-workout is preferably if we have samples at Popeyes, is ask for them. We do have a sample station as well. If I'm working, make sure to ask me. I'm usually pretty nice of giving out samples because I know how crappy it is to buy a pre-workout and not like it. So number one question usually is when I ask someone that's coming for a pre-workout is, do you drink any coffee throughout the day? Do you drink energy drinks? How would you assess your stimulant tolerance, so your caffeine tolerance? Why that's the most important question is because pre-workouts range from different strength levels. They can range from 150 milligrams of caffeine all the way up to 400. And the last thing I want to recommend or someone to buy is a 400 milligram caffeine pre-workout as never taken pre-workout before. They're going to feel super sick. They're going to feel super anxious. It's just not a good experience. So that's the number one thing to consider when buying a pre-workout is your stimulant tolerance. So if you do drink a lot of coffee or energy drinks or an advanced user for pre-workouts, you might need something higher tolerance. If you're not, definitely look at the lower tolerance ones. So that's one. 2 is going to be an ingredient called beta-alanine. So this ingredient is phenomenal. What it does is basically gets rid of lactic acid in our bloodstream so that we're able to work out harder and longer. There is one little drawback to beta-alanine is probably most of you have felt it sometime in your lives. Is the tingles or itchiness in like your ears, your nose, all over your body. It's, again, personal preference. Some people love it, some people hate it. So that's another thing I usually ask customers when they're coming in, just to gauge that. Because the last thing we want people to come back and say, hey, I'm allergic to this pre-workout because I got tingles. It's not an allergic reaction. It's actually very common. It's the right word is actually you're kind of feeling increased blood flow throughout your veins is the lamest terms of what you're kind of feeling in the tingling sensation. That's what it's from. If we don't want to go beta alanine, there's definitely a few options we can go. Number one is going to be Magnum Pre-Fo. So this is a great pre-workout. It actually doesn't have any beta alanine at all. So if you're a person that doesn't like the tingles or it driving you nuts, I highly recommend you giving this a shot. The nice thing about a product like this as well is it has two different types of dosing protocols. So how I was talking about earlier, if you want lower stim or if you want higher stim, you can choose. If you want lower stim, do 1 scoop. If you want a higher stim, do 2 scoops. Or even switched up from day to day. Say you have a heavy back day or heavy leg day. Do 2 scoops that day. Or you pulled the whole nighter with friends, or you had a long day at work. It kind of options there. So that's one nice thing about this guy. Perfect. Great question. So what type of pre-workout do you recommend that won't make you crash hard? So that's actually a phenomenal question. The last thing you want to do is be amped up for the gym, and then you crash when you get home and you actually don't have an evening with your family. You're kind of just ready for bed. So there is definitely a few things we want to look for. So coming back to actually Magnum Pre-Fo, this is a great option as it has 2 different types of caffeines in it. That's one thing you can look for in a pre-workout is different caffeines. So for instance, they have a caffeine called caffeine anhydrous, which is a very fast acting caffeine. So that probably will hit you within 15, 20 minutes. Maybe in 15 to 30 minutes, depends if you're fasted or not. And then it has a caffeine called dicaffeine malate. So basically it's caffeine binded to malic acid. That has a slower absorption rate. So it's there to have that easier come down from the caffeine anhydrous. So you shouldn't crash off something like that because it's slowly bringing you down. That would be kind of what I would look for, is something with 2 different types of caffeine sources, or even a pre-workout that has theanine in it. Theanine is a great product to have in some pre-workouts to help with calming, especially higher stim pre-workouts, as we tendency to get really anxious or our heart starts beating really fast. Theanine is going to be a calming agent that helps slowly bring your adrenaline down, basically. Pre-workouts. Another option that's kind of about the basic about stimulant pre-workouts. Again, I can go into much more detail if you guys would like. Shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to even suggest brands, formulas, that type of stuff, as I absolutely love the science behind it. So I can go into more detail about the ingredients and what you should actually expect from them. Another thing that we can do in the pre-workout market, I highly suggest, if anyone's doing competitive bodybuilding or has physique goals or anything like that, is adding an NO booster, so a pump supplement. So what these do is basically open up your blood vessels more to allow more blood flow, allow more oxygen, allow more nutrients, so you have actually a better pump in the gym, as well as, for instance, this pre-workout has an ingredient called glycerol. Some of you might have heard of that. What glycerol actually does is, think of it as like creatine. It's going to hydrate your muscle. So one thing I highly recommend is drinking a lot of water with this, or make sure you're getting a lot of water consumption throughout the day. So adding this to a pre-workout or even taking it on its own is a great option to get a better pump. If you're getting a better pump in the gym, you're getting more oxygen, more nutrient delivery to your blood or to your muscles, which should equal more muscle gains. So especially if you're have vesicles, I highly recommend adding pump supplement to your pre-workout. Another great option about supplements is they're non-stimulant. So if someone wants to work out late at night and doesn't want to take a bunch of caffeine, but still wants to have a really great workout, these are great options to take during those late night workouts as they don't have any caffeine. So great options. Another one that I think is misconception as well is good old fashioned creatine. So most people probably have heard of creatine in some sort of way. If I had to choose one supplement to increase your workouts, it would be creatine. It's by far the most studied supplement in the world, backed by thousands and thousands of clinical studies to prove the effectiveness of it. Couple of misconceptions of creatine that I hear daily that you might be thinking is creatine is harmful to your kidneys, harmful to your liver, and you should cycle creatine, let's say 5 weeks on, 5 weeks off. I would say all three of those are false. So as long as you're using creatine, what's the right word here, at the recommended doses and not taking over the recommended dose, it's 100% safe. I would recommend for a female 5 grams a day. For a male, I would say 5 to 10 grams a day. What was my other thing? So cycling creatine. So cycling creatine is a myth. Creatine is actually a saturation ingredient. So what that really means is it needs to build up into our muscle cells to get the full effect. That's why some of you might have heard back in the day of the loading phase. So the loading phase was this thing that came on the market. I think it's more of a marketing flaw to use more of the creatine. It was like use 20 grams for 5 days straight to load it and then go down to 5 grams for maintenance. You can definitely still do it that way. I do suggest just taking 5 to 10 grams a day, regardless. Don't even worry about the loading phase. Your body's going to get saturated over time. So do you need to take sugar with creatine? 100%. So actually, I shouldn't say 100%. I should say for creatine monohydrate,